Hi, I'm Tom with Imagine Form. Today I'm going to show you how to paint with an HVLP gun. We're going to start with a teardown, going over the basic controls, and then I'm going to actually show you some demonstrations on painting techniques.
Alright, here we have your cup, your nozzle. This is your fan control. Below your fan control is your paint volume control. This is your air volume control. This is your air inlet, your trigger, and in here is your needle.
Cup unscrews. Your fan control. These are the parts you're going to want to take apart when you're cleaning the gun. These guns are from Harbor Freight. This is the automotive kit. Comes with two guns, this gun and a smaller one. Harbor Freight has some good equipment and some bad equipment. I really like these guns. This is a needle. These guns come with a 1.4 needle and a 1.8, and these match it as well. So if you change the needle, you change this. Use the 1.8 for thicker paints, and you use the 1.4 for thinner paints. So that's pretty much the tear down as far as cleaning it. I'll scrub out in there good, and there. Make sure your needle's clean. All these ports are open, especially these ports here are open. Yeah. One of the things I like about these guns versus some of the other Harbor Freight guns is it's all metal to metal seals. It seals really well, and the seals don't wear out. Hey, right. This is your fan control. So this controls how wide your pattern is. If it's all the way closed, you get a circle pattern. If it's all the way open, you get a nice wide fan. This allows the amount of paint to come out. The further out it is, the more paint that comes out. When you first pull the trigger, just air flows. Keep pulling, paint comes out. All right, so what's happening when we're spraying? We got paint coming in here, air coming in here. They mix together at the nozzle, and they come flying out of the gun. When they come out of the gun, they come out as little droplets flying through the air. Those droplets eventually hit your part and form little drops on your part. Those droplets then eventually level out and connect up, and hopefully you get a nice clean surface. So there's a few things going on here. Droplet size is pretty important. It's actually coming out of here. It's a mist. You don't see the drops. The higher the pressure, the smaller your droplets are. This can be a good and bad thing. It depends on the paint. So the smaller the droplets, the finer the texture you have here, but also the drier it's going to go on. As these little droplets are flying through the air, they're also evaporating some solvent. So in paint, we've got solids and solvents. So what happens is the solvents carry the solids to your surface, and eventually they evaporate off and leave you with solids. This is true for two-part paints as well as single-part waterborne paints. So with this, as these are drying, also the distance between here and here, as that increases, these are drier as they go on there. Now sometimes we want dry, because if it's wet, it'll sag. If it's too dry, you'll get a lot of texture. So you got to find the happy medium there. Okay, first thing, you always want to filter your paint. You can use a disposable filter like this. You can get them in any auto parts paint store, or you can do what I normally do, which is a funnel with a little screen. You can get these from McMaster-Carr. Filtering paint gets out any little boogers, chunks in there. It would otherwise end up in your finish, or plug your gun, which is really annoying. Okay, here we are in the paint booth. Like I mentioned earlier, main three controls are inlet pressure, paint volume, and fan control. We're going to start with pressure. I'm going to show you, got the gun set at a really low pressure right now. I'm going to show you what that does and why it's not good. I'm going to make a quick pass here. All right, I don't know if you can see that, but I'll zoom in. You can see speckles everywhere. Never going to give you a good paint surface. All right, got cranked up to like 60 psi. That's on the high side. And then make another pass. It's blowing the board all over the place. You can see there's mist everywhere. It actually gives you a pretty good finish, but you're going to waste a lot of paint because it's blowing all over the place. All right, now I got about 35 psi. Not a lot of overspray. Nice coverage. That's what we're looking for. So if your dots are way too big, your pressure's too low. If you're getting a lot of overspray and a lot of mist, it means your pressure's too high. All right, next I'm going to go over the fan. The fan control is your top one. This is your side air. If your nozzle's this way, it means your fan's going to be up and down. Depending on what you're painting, you can switch it. Now your fan's going to be sideways. We're going to put it so the fan's up and down. And crank this all the way in. All the way in. Basically, the line, okay? It's giving you dots. All the way out. Gives you a wide pattern like that. Okay? So that's your fan control. Depends on what you're painting. If you're painting really small parts, you're going to want a little bit tighter. I always like to have a little bit of side air. If you're painting a big panel, you're going to want as wide a pattern as you can get. Okay, the last one is paint volume. That's this down here. This allows your needle to come back and allows paint out. The further you screw this out, the further the needle can come out, the more paint that can come out. One thing to note is when you first pull the trigger, you're getting just air, no paint. You continue to pull, you start getting paint out. So very low volume of paint. You can go even lower. You can see it just puts a real light mist on there. Probably not going to want to do that unless you're going for an effect like an overspray. Again, I'm going to do extremes here. If we go all the way out, now we got a lot of paint coming out of here. Okay, this is all right if you're doing panels. Got to keep the gun moving. You're probably going to want to go a little less. Gives you a little more control. It's always easier to add paint than it is to take paint away. If you go too heavy, it's going to run. So I'd like to start low and kind of back out and get a feel for it. You can see that's light. With a second coat coming over, I can catch it right up. So that's the basics: fan, paint volume, air pressure. Keep an eye out. I'm going to do another video on painting techniques and troubleshooting.